Do you remember how you felt when you saw Captain America: The Winter Soldier?
Yes.
That's kind of what I felt when I read this book.
Oh
Like,
wow.
the
Okay.
interviews have been saying that like this series is going to be a kind of political action thriller. You're going to see Sam do a lot of stuff. You're going to see the fighting, and that's exactly what this first issue gave. Like he and Phoenix Jo Kwan are going. Misty Knight has tipped them off about a cargo train that has stolen super soldier serum, so they
Mhm.
go
Oh
to.
wait. I read this.
Oh, you
So
did?
yeah, I got into this
Oh wow!
about this.
Oh wow!
So yes, I did see Misty Knight telling him all the stuff about the
Oh
super
wow!
serum and everything. I read that. I picked this up because I was like, RB Silva's on art. All right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of another relaunch, and I am the hot girl, Susan Storm, the Invisible Woman.
She had that really nice cover come out this week, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
I am going to be Captain Sam America. Similar
Ooh,
true.
okay.
Yeah,
I like that mix on the name.
I know, right? It's the. I feel like it's the best way to differentiate the two.
Yeah.
So I don't always have to be like, oh, Captain America Sam, Captain America Steve. So if I'm saying Captain Sam, most of the time, honestly, if I'm talking about Captain America, I'm talking about Sam anyway. So that really shouldn't be
Right.
that hard. But just to,
Right.
anyone who might be new, Captain Sam America.
I know we're gonna talk about him later because I have a few questions about
Mm.
like his costume and some of his
Mm.
history. I don't know.
Mm.
He's coming back up into the media now because he has that book out,
Mhm.
and eventually, obviously, he's gonna have his own Captain America movie.
Mhm.
Um, so we'll see about that. But I got some questions, but we'll tap into that later. How are
I'm
you doing?
here to answer. I'm doing better than yesterday. I got sick earlier in the week, and
Oh
I
no.
just I've been like on bed rest. I'm still, if I sound a little congested still, I'm coming to the end of it right now. I had my at-home COVID test, and I've had them for a while, and I took it for the first time, and I was like, oh, this is like kind of exciting to do. It was like my own little science experiment. Um,
Come on,
but
science.
I know, but they kept coming out negative, and I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess I have to go
That's
to work
good.
back eventually."
Oh. We don't want you to have the vid.
It was just like, I don't want to either. But if I could be like, I gotta be gone for 2 weeks. I'm sorry. Although my boss, after I
Right.
was talking to him about it, he was like, "Oh, that's not a thing anymore." He was like, "All you need is a doctor's note." I said, "Oh, that's crazy."
Excuse me? So did it just end? Did the pandemic just
I was like, "That's
end?
crazy." I was like, "I don't think I, I don't think that's the case." I was like, "I definitely still need my 2 week quarantine
Yeah.
to do what I need to do."
That don't sound safe. Okay, but other than that, you're doing good.
Yes, much better, much better. How about you?
That's good. I'm good. Crazy week at work, really busy. The weather has also been like 70 degrees here, and
Oh,
kind of chilly at night. I'm like, ooh, it's
same
getting
here.
cold.
Although it's been
But
like
it's
in
the
the summer,
summer.
but very cloudy here. I think it's raining today, actually.
Mm. Oh, it's been
I,
raining a lot there. But I feel like if
um,
people have been listening for a while, we come on here and you be like, it's raining.
like every weekend it's been raining and it's crazy because it's still like the skies are gray, but it's still very warm outside. And the thing about DC is DC gets humid too. So even when it's hot, like it starts to get like nasty, like muggy. So it's like you get that with the rain and like the gray skies, and it's like I'm not going outside.
Mm.
I was like, even if I wasn't sick, I was like, this just isn't enjoyable weather to be outside. And but I will say it is consistently getting a little bit warmer, so that's nice. I think my birthday's coming up in a couple of weeks, and so
Mm.
I'm hopeful by the time that comes around, it'll be a nice normal summer or like spring weather at least. Because right now, winter, fall, I don't know what this is, but it ain't spring.
The end of the world. um, so we are going to be starting a new segment on the show. Now, at the beginning, we're going to be kind of getting into what's happening in the comic book world. I know Keenan and I get a lot of questions. A lot of questions come in through the show about like, which character should I, or which comic book should I start with, or what's going on with this character, or a lot of people may like the movies and TV shows and stuff, and they ask like, what's going on with that TV show? So we figured why not just give a little lowdown of what's happening in the comic book world that we can kind of dish to keep people up to date on stuff. But
If it's CW,
forewarning,
canceled.
we gonna get into that. Definitely, forewarning, we'll be like spoiling some things if you don't want to know anything about anything. So fast forward. But right now we will be getting into some stuff. And first up, what we wanted to talk about was the Fantastic Four movie. Now, if you've seen Multiverse of Madness, you saw Reed Richards pop up in it. He was a part of the Illuminati. You also heard him mention my girl, Susan Storm. And the Fantastic Four are coming. We've already known before. Kevin Feige talked about that the MCU Fantastic Four would be coming eventually. Original director was going to be Jon Watts, who had done all of the MCU Spider-Man movies, but it's recently been announced that he has left it. He is going to take a break from the superhero movies. He feels like, I've done all the stuff with Spider-Man. He's grossed how many billions of dollars. He wants to take a break. Now, the streets are saying that this actually happened back in January, and we will be finding out who the real director of the Fantastic Four will be at D23 this year, later this year. Now, I don't know. I don't have any insider secrets or anything, but I do think that the John Krasinski thing was not for play. I do think that he was given the opportunity to play Reed because not only were fans like begging for it from all of the different,
they were begging,
a lot of art, a lot of art commissioned with him to look like Reed, and a lot of Photoshop jobs of him looking like Reed. And I think they kind of were giving it for the fans what they wanted, and this was kind of a test. So they used this variant of Reed Richards. So he's from a different Earth, but if you like John Krasinski as Reed, he could come back as the proper Earth Reed Richards. Now, people also know that Quiet Place 1 and 2 did bring in the money. So he directed both of those movies. I would not be surprised if he was offered the opportunity to direct the Fantastic Four movie as well as be Reed Richards. What do you think about John Krasinski as Reed Richards?
Yeah, I don't know. I never really like bought into the hype of it, honestly. And even when it happened in the movie, I think I said this during the review that we did last week. It was just kind of like, oh, okay. They, they want to give like a little fan servicey moment that everybody would enjoy because this is something they had been calling for. But again, I also think about the Fantastic Four as a whole. For me, it's just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like they'll get what they deserve.
See, I just said don't do it. I think that they will. I think that they obviously probably will. He's in the running to be Reed Richards. I don't know if he is like for sure going to be it. I do think that this was like a screen test to see how people liked it. From the internet, it looks like people were okay with it.
Do you think even if he isn't Reed, that he might still direct it?
No.
Okay.
No. Only because I do remember that he was attempting to be Captain America. I think he was on like the short list for it. And they also really wanted Emily Blunt in the MCU. She was offered Black Widow like twice and turned it down, as well as I believe she was on the short list for Captain Marvel. And again, to me that makes it sound like she was like, listen, if y'all want me, you got to bring my man.
So I was gonna say, do you think like him being Reed would definitely guarantee, or would she still be like no, and they just find somebody else to be Sue?
No, I think she'd come on to Sue. Like if you're gonna wait out on a character, if they keep asking you to come back, you might as well be Big Mama.
Okay. Would you? Do you like John Krasinski enough to direct it?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen too much of his work outside of A Quiet Place, and I didn't see Quiet Place 2. I liked Quiet Place,
I love
but
Quiet Place too.
he, as an actor, he wasn't in it. He was only in it. I think he
Yeah,
was
he
only in like half the
dies.
movie. It was mostly her. So,
It was
but from a
unfortunate.
director's standpoint, like I guess it was pretty good. But that's the only thing of his I think I've seen, unless he directed any episodes of The Office. And again, I think that's my problem. I still see Jim,
That's
and
true.
I don't see Reed as Jim.
Yeah. It's
That's not his fault. He's
is
just
it
like,
is it because you don't see Jim as smart?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that.
I
I
can
don't see
understand.
him like explaining something to me and I'm be like, I don't believe you.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like that kind of is something that happened in the movie. Like when he popped up, I was like, "Oh, this just isn't like hitting for me."
It's not.
I don't believe that you know all of this stuff.
No, like it's not really hitting to me. Um, but I think we'll see what's going on with them. I don't know when they're going to release as far as the movie goes,
Mhm.
but I do think that the information is as far as the casting and like all that kind of stuff is coming out sooner than later. I do think D23 is going to really be the thing that kind of pushes it.
Okay.
All right. Up next, we have the Gotham Knights trailer that came out recently, the gameplay trailer. And I wanted to discuss that because, again, we know people out here like some comic books, comic book characters in their video games. I was really excited for for this game when it was announced. I will admit, I love a good superhero game, and
Mhm.
this was giving like a team up, open world kind of thing where you were either Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Hood, or Robin, and the Robin was Tim Drake, and it's like an open world RPG kind of thing. Most recently, they released a gameplay trailer that gave you some Nightwing and Red Hood gameplay, and I I did think that sometimes the gameplay was a little slow, but I still think that like there's still some excitement for me there. Nightwing looked good, so
Yeah. Nightwing
I'm
looked really
definitely I'm
good.
there.
I also
Yeah.
do agree that it looks slow, but I think I gave the trailer a little bit of grace because I felt like this is still very early on in the development
Hmm.
process. And I feel like a lot of that stuff is always rough and slower as time goes on. But I will say a lot of the other things in the game outside of Nightwing gameplay just did not sound exciting. The Red Hood stuff was like crazy. Why is he jumping on Mystic Portals?
Okay, the thing about these games, in my opinion, is like people have to realize that you gotta give them some kind of like transportation power. You got to, even if the character don't have powers, like
But mystical, like you work for
what you
Bruce
want to give
Wayne,
them.
who's a technological genius, and all these people, they can't like design you a stepper.
Wouldn't they always give him? So like, what he gonna have the same thing as Dick Grayson?
Dick had
You kind of want him to be a little
Dick had a
different. Dick has
glider.
a glider.
You get your glider, you get your one who has his little gun. You can have somebody, I don't know, jumping with like, but like mysticism.
He's resurrected from the Lazarus pit. It made sense to me. It
Okay.
did. I didn't think that it made sense to me because again, these games have to give these characters those travel powers, and I'm sorry, but those street level girls, they can't do anything. So
But
like
that's
they
the
got to
thing.
be able to.
They don't travel that way because they don't need to. That defeats the whole purpose of what you're doing and like the field you're in. If you go and give me and even the mystical girls who operate in the street, they don't got to do all that. You can teleport. Why am I
How is this?
jumping
So
on
how
his?
would you? What was he supposed to do? How was he supposed to get from rooftop to rooftop?
He could have jumped.
That's it. Just jump.
That's it. You could have. You can make the lines. He can jump over those. He can swing. He can glide. I don't need him. I don't need him up in the air with Mystic's teleport steppers.
A mystic side jump.
I mean, but his gameplay also looked awful. Like he used his guns entirely too much. There was no hand. There was barely any hand to hand in it. It's just him shooting a bunch of bullets. It was not interesting at
Is
all.
Jason really like a hand to hand,
Yeah, he
like
like
a good one?
fights. Yeah, he's beat both Batman and Dick at the same time.
Jason Todd? Really?
Chronology, the one in 19.
Oh,
Thank you.
Then why
Thank
he always
you.
got the guns?
Because he's violent. That's how they show he's violent, and that he's like
Oh,
different from Batman. So he has to have a gun and he has to shoot people. But Jason knows how to fight. He mostly fights. He just will kill you at the end of the fight. That's the big difference.
right, right. Poor thing in that crowbar. Mm. Well, I thought the gameplay was interesting. Everybody check that out and see what you guys think. The game has now been pushed back again to, I think it's now October 2022. I would not be surprised if that ends up getting pushed back again to early next year. So
Yeah, it's not coming out no time soon.
no, I would really wish that they would wait until like 60 days before launch.
It's like, yeah, it's like, I think, I don't know. It's so interesting the way the gaming industry has come along. And I was tweeting about this the other day and just talking about some of the games that I'm excited to finally hear about. And I was like, I feel like at this point, anything that gets announced within the next year or two anyway isn't going to be out till like 2026.
No.
It's
At
just
least
like,
when they announced like that Wolverine game, they said we're working on it. We'll come back later.
that's all.
That's it.
We'll let you know as soon as we do. But right now, just know it's coming. And it's like, okay, that's cool. That's fine.
But that's inside. I do like that game studio. They have some solid games. I don't think they've had too many flops, to be honest.
And now we're getting to the point where a lot of games aren't going to be on the current gen consoles.
No,
So,
you gotta get your PS5s and your Xbox X. I don't know what they do over there, but whatever is the most current one. That one.
anyways.
So, so the CW has gone through a bunch of cancellations recently. Batwoman and Naomi have recently just been canceled. The
And
Legend of Tomorrow has also been canceled. So I
now
know
let me
people are
tell.
enjoying some of those comic book shows on the CW, but it looks like a lot of them are getting the axe.
So I will say this: I don't watch The Legends of Tomorrow, but even that cancellation kind of hurt me. That was like, I don't know, 6, 7 seasons of like what I felt was pure comic book goodness, in the same way that Doom Patrol is for HBO Max. And I know the people who were into Legends of Tomorrow, they really enjoyed it for the way it really did embrace the comic book nature of stuff. Naomi, I watched one episode of that show and I knew that meant to be for this world for very long. And Miss Ava DuVernay, we need to have a conversation because I don't know what you were going through. I don't know what the point of that was, but like that was doing no one favor. Did you see the clip that people were posting of like when she was flying up into the air? What was going on?
Y'all, please check Twitter and watch this video. It was like, was that the end of the show?
Yeah, that was the series finale. And now
That was really bad.
But it was like
she just like kind of levitated and then flew away. It was really bad.
The show was like,
it looked like I did it.
The show was objectively like bad the entire time, and it really did a lot of the similar things that the comic of Naomi did. It didn't answer any questions. You never really saw her powers. It was just her talking, everyone and telling her she's meant for greatness. Who am I? Who are you? Blah blah blah. It was a bad show, and I feel bad because I feel like the girl, like, I think one of the things they did on the show, she was bisexual, and like, it did a good job at showing that. Like, you know, she had her little flirtation with the boy. She had a little flirtation with the girl. She was like popular in school. The girl who played Naomi, like, she had the look. She had, like, it could have been something, but it was nothing. So
it was on the CW. It was
that one had to go. I actually did read an article earlier talking about the cancellation of the Legends of Tomorrow and Batwoman, and it was saying how like the head of the studio actually did want to keep both of the shows, but they didn't want to keep the lot where they filmed on, and I guess the expiration of the lease for the lot was coming up within a few days, so it was like, oh, we're not gonna renew for a year on this show that we know we're gonna cancel it anyway.
I wonder where the CW lot is out here, because that's wild. Like, oh, forget it, we're not putting that lease down, putting that deposit down.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you know, maybe we could have given you a quick like little one up. Like if we had like what is this? May? Maybe if the lease was going to end in September. Okay, yeah, we'll keep it on. Let them film one more season and like do what they need to do and like keep it moving. But it's like after that, oh no.
People making cuts, budget cuts. I feel like in this streaming era now, like if you aren't like an instant hit, they got to move on to the next thing. And like I've said, the CW superhero, I already have a like very love-hate relationship. Not even love-hate. I dislike a lot of superhero TV shows because like the budget for them just doesn't exist. I will never forget years ago, um, this was well before the Disney Plus stuff. Um, there were Marvel executives being asked about, the X-Men and if they would ever have them on TV shows because that's where their format would probably work the best because it's so soapy and all the drama and stuff like that. And they said that while they agree that the TV shows would make the best avenue for them, the budget wouldn't be there. And like with these types of characters, you need them like using their powers. You don't want to have a show with Storm, Jean, all of them like they not doing nothing. Like, Storm when she walks in a room, like gusts of wind or whatever, like you can't just have her not do anything. So a lot of these superhero TV shows, I can't suspend my disbelief because the budget. The CW. I used to watch some of those CW shows back when they first started, like Arrow. The first 2 seasons of Arrow were all right. The first season of Flash was all right, and then everything went downhill from there.
I know. Black Lightning was always kind of good. I was shocked at
Black.
Okay. But again, I think of superheroes, like street level stuff is made more for that anyway, and like that's kind of what Black Lightning did. And then it's like even so, his powers are electricity.
Yeah, his show was all right. I think it kind of went off the deep end later. I stopped watching after that first season.
Well, it lasted 4, so.
Oh. Big yikes! I did not know that. I do think Scooter. I can't think of his real name, but he was.
He was. I
can't think of the actor. He's fine.
So Cress Williams.
Man.
But honestly, I think that show was like really well casted too. Like the girls who play Anissa and Jennifer, the mom, like they all kind of did the damn thing. And I'm a Thunder fan, so seeing that doll there,
she was great. Yeah.
And that one episode, she's hot. Okay.
She's pretty.
That one episode where they gave her a call back to like the her comic costume with the blonde hair and like the pink outfit too. They're giving it to us.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Even when they had her relationship with Grace and stuff, I thought that was pretty good.
That was
the Black Lightning show was pretty solid. Again, it's just stuff from being on CW. I wished it could have maybe done something on HBO Max. But again, I don't actually. Now that I think about it, I used to think that going to HBO Max meant you got a budget, but that is not always the case.
Oh, that's not. It just means people can see you more accessibly. You're more accessible to people. Like that's all that is. It's just like okay.
Yeah, you're not getting the budget.
We saw like Batgirl. Although I don't think that looked that bad.
The movie Batgirl or the Batwoman
the TV show they're doing for Barbara. Remember when everybody was like bashing that?
She's getting a TV show?
Yeah.
I thought that was a movie.
Is it a movie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
With that girl from oh man, I can't think of her name.
Black girl.
I remember I saw her. I thought she was Latina.
Is she?
Leslie Grace is playing Barbara Gordon.
Is she Afro-Latina? Like America Chavez?
Don't do that. she is. She's Latin. According to her Wikipedia page, she's got 3 Latin Grammys. Oh, 3 Latin Grammy nominations.
Oh wow! See, somebody told me she was black. They be lying.
She was played in The Heights. She's just from the Bronx.
She's Dominican. Okay.
She's Dominican.
I get it now. Okay.
Okay.
America's Puerto Rico.
She will be back. Yes. Okay. I didn't think her costume for the show didn't look
I thought it
bad.
looked fine, but I know a lot of people bashed and they said it looked cheap, and they were like, "Oh, like it's giving CW and da 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 da," and I was just like,
Why everything always got to give CW?
"It's because CW is not bothering anybody." I mean, but honestly, the
No,
CW
CW
bought.
did bother me because um, the CW is why they kept trying to make Diggle into Green Lantern for some reason. Everyone saw a black man in the military and thought, "Oh my God, is that Jon Stewart? He got to be a Green Lantern." And that's just not the case, y'all. That man is not the Green Lantern.
Diggle.
Let it go.
He
Move
was.
on.
Oh, he was on Arrow. I didn't really like Arrow.
It was something. All those shows were something. But it seems to be an end of an era. They
It's over now.
it's All right. Ms. Marvel's powers have been changed in the MCU, and Kevin Feige has put an explanation to it. Officially coming out and saying that while her powers are going to be consistent with the character and what they are to Kamala, they are going to fit for the MCU. So, a lot of people were complaining that her powers were not this big stretchy hands. And he says, if you were looking for the big stretchy hands, they'll be there in spirit. But her powers are going to be a lot more different, and they will be a lot more aligned to what the MCU would kind of offer. So she is, in the comics, Kamala has, I guess polymorph powers are kind of what they call it. She can stretch and she can change her form. She also has a healing ability. She can also change her size. And I mean, these powers are pretty famous for her. They're also kind of intrinsic to her character because when she gets them, she transforms herself into Carol, and she like gets out of her inhuman egg and she looks like Ms. Marvel, and she has the whole moment of like, you don't have to be me, you can be yourself, thing. Now in this show, she is going to have these kind of like cosmic light powers. It looks like there's like force fieldy kind of stuff, some crystal effects. I don't really know what's going on there. But Feige has now explained that the power change is just because they needed to align them with the MCU. Now, I personally feel like, what was the point? I get that you try to make them look brighter and flashier to be like Carol, but I thought her original powers kind of like made her special, I guess.
Um, I don't know. I kind of thought like, yeah, I expected that.
You expected it? Yeah, I feel like
But
a lot of people kind of expected it.
I feel like, in the terms of what he's saying of making it fit more in line with the MCU, yes, they are like very big on making everything connected, and these characters kind of like have the ways to find each other. And of course, when you think of Kamala and you think of Carol, I think we've even talked about it, you being a Carol fan, of how the two in the comic books have never really felt like they fit together. And I think a big part of that is honestly because of their powers. Carol operates on a space level. Kamala's in Jersey, stretching around. You know what I'm saying? You never really have those two intersect in a way. And when you get to the MCU, if you want to do that and you want to have them intersect, I think you do have to have their powers be similar. That said, I do think in that
And
you can
Spectrum right
still,
next to him.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like they're sitting around blasting. What's Kamala doing? Making her hands big? Okay.
Yeah, that's not
Like,
really fair.
you want to have a little razzle dazzle and sparkle. So when you have them in the Marvels and Kamala's up there on the space station, like, it feels like they belong together. That said, I feel like a lot of people also think that means you can't really get the essence of Kamala's story, or they don't care about the essence of Kamala's story, which I don't necessarily think I agree with. I do think that whatever they're doing on the Miss Marvel show is still going to be like a really good little time for the actress who's playing her, and you're going to feel like this is like the Kamala Khan that you read in the comic books. Is her power difference going to be pretty jarring? Absolutely. But like he said, you are still going to kind of see those big fists, those little moments where she might even still say embiggen in some type of way when she makes the big
I
fist.
hope so.
And I think those little things will kind of like temper expectations, or like temper hostilities toward it, and like how we're supposed to feel.
And there were moments in the trailers where it looked as though her hand got big or whatever, and it just looked like it was just a glowing fist kind of thing,
Yeah.
kind of like armor or like Uniscion or whatever. how they could
Queen.
have this like kind of like exoskeleton kind of thing, where I get the thing that they're going for because it is definitely like prettier, but
Yeah.
it kind of would have been cool to see her have a little different power than everybody else around her, where she kind of is like she out of place, but that's why she's there. She's like, I'm out of place, but I'm
Yeah.
still kind of I'm here
And
too.
I think that's valid to say, like, and I think that's actually like a pretty good metaphor for Kamala's story as a whole. I'm out
Hmm.
of place, but I'm here.
I like that. I wish they would have kind of maybe kept it, but again, we'll see what happens. I do plan to watch her show and kind of get into that.
I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna support the little girl. You know, I've seen a couple of her
Her trailer
interviews.
looks nice.
I think the trailer looks really cute. I think the
Cute.
kids are gonna love it. I think that again, this is also one of those things where it's not necessarily made for us.
No, we too
You know what
old.
I'm saying? And I think a lot, and I think a lot of the complaints that are coming are for like the people who are our age or older, and it's just like this ain't made for you anyway, baby. Like I'm sorry. Like the essence of what this story is supposed to be about is going to reach those kids, and it's like I get it. We enjoy these things sometimes, but it's okay to just say like this isn't for me, and like just move on. That little girl's
Let's
sweet, and
start
like
there. Sometimes I think people need to realize that like sometimes it's okay to say this isn't for me and just move on. That little girl ain't bothering nobody.
she's very excited and she's very sweet and like people be like going off and tag her and it was just like that other girl. There's that show, the Percy Jackson series, or it's gonna be a movie or something. I don't know. They like casted some black girl to be one of the main characters. And
Yeah,
people are attacking her and got her little her TikTok account blocked and all this stuff. And she's like going live talking. I'm just like, y'all are crazy. You're
it's
too old.
ridiculous.
Please go outside.
And that little girl is like so adorable.
She
I
is.
want to find her name. She's gonna be playing the character Annabeth.
I don't know nothing about Percy Jackson or what they got going on over there.
Me neither. That's not my jam. But um, I know the girl is going to be playing the character Annabeth. Let me see. Oh, Leah Jeffries is her name. Cute
Mm-hmm.
girl. I like her little
Afro puffs.
her little
Her
afro
little
puffs are
her
too
moon girl
cute.
look.
Yes.
You see
Oh,
the
now
vision.
see. Low key, that's probably where she's trying to go. Good for you, girl. You better get it.
Put it out there.
Put it out there, girl. But like the backlash for against her is ridiculous. Like she's a kid, and this show was not made. You are 30. Like, please let it go. This was not.
Okay.
I understand that they are making things that you wish you would have had when you were a kid, but you're not there no more, baby. You gotta
Mhm.
let it go.
That's what happens. And I think even sometimes just saying like something isn't for you and letting it go doesn't mean that you have to hate it or you dislike it. Again, it's just like
No.
recognizing that like this is something different that's not for me. And like, okay, I'm gonna go watch something that is.
Yeah. Talk about things that are you. Give people to those things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they wouldn't flop. Now, Disney Plus just recently kind of had a hiccup and has accidentally released the date of the She-Hulk series. Now, Disney Plus UK has released that the She-Hulk series is going to come out on August 17th. Now, I know that you are a big She-Hulk fan, so are you excited for this release date? Did you think it was still going to come out this year, or did you think it was going to have a pushback?
I did think it was still gonna come out this year. Excited for it. I will say that I have tempered my expectations of any Phase 4 projects that are upcoming. And I think I'm just going to be along for the ride and take them as they go. I will say I'm still very excited to see Tatiana as She-Hulk. I think she's going to be amazing, and I think she'll do some fantastic acting. Shout out to the MCU; they get actors, and
Phase two.
I think she'll knock it out of the park, and we'll see what happens with the rest.
When it comes to the Phase 4 stuff, I do think that it's a little wobbly, but I've been having a great time. Again, because they haven't really gotten to any of my favorite characters, although the times that they have, they've done a terrible job. The Taskmaster thing, sorry. But but overall, like I'm just having a good time. This is some pretty solid movies. Nothing has been terrible. To me, nothing has been like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 yet. So like
Mhm.
I'm having a good
I
time.
don't know. I thought Eternals was pretty bad.
That was a little boring, yes, but I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was bad.
Okay.
Okay, so the description for She-Hulk is it's a new comedy series where you see Bruce Banner help his cousin Jennifer Walters when she needs an emergency blood transfusion. And guess what? She receives powers too. Tatiana Maslany will play Jennifer, who is a lawyer specializing in superhuman-oriented legal cases. Mark Ruffalo is back as the Hulk alongside Tim Roth, who plays the Abomination. I think that this show will probably end up being a pretty big hit. One thing I've noticed that people like for some reason, which I think is weird about superhero shows, is when they aren't superheroes. So, um, this being like a comedy series, I think will be for people who are always, I like content, but I don't want to see superhero stuff, but I want to see the superhero like do regular stuff. So I think those audiences will like this, and I also think Tatiana Maslany is like she's funny. So I think that the series would be pretty good.
It's gonna be cool. I think she's gonna knock it out of the park, and people also really like Mark Ruffalo too. So I think they're gonna tune in for
They
it.
do. I don't know yet if I lost because I do like Titania a lot. She's like one of my favorite villains.
Oh yeah.
On our previous couples episode, I've talked about Titania, Titania, and her man Crusher Creel. Like I love a couple that's ride or die, and they are very ride or die for each other.
They go all for each other.
But I know that this MCU adaptation, I forget the actress's name.
Jamila
I don't
Jamil.
really think about her. Yeah, she's going to be Titania. So
yeah,
they're lost again.
Oh, that is crazy to me. Speaking of Titania and Krill, did you ever go back and read Gamma Flight?
Oh no, I didn't. Was that 5 issues?
It was. Yeah, it was 5 issues, but I want to say there was 2. There was a 3-issue one, and then there was a 5-issue one. But they were both in it, and I think you should go back. It's probably on Marvel Unlimited. I think you should go back and
I'll check that out. Does that take place after Immortal Hulk? Like, do I need to read that first? Because I do want to read that.
Dark. I mean, you should still read Immortal Hulk anyway, but I think it's enough. So basically, what happened was, there were like people becoming like gamma mutated monsters, and they created Gamma Flight to go and like capture them, and so that's like
okay.
And then like they turned against the government, and so then the second miniseries is how they're on the run, but they're still also trying to get the gamma mutated people.
Oh, and Titania was on the team?
Yes, her and Crusher. Oh.
Okay, I'm about to tap into that then.
It's really good. Puck is on there. People like Puck.
Oh, people do like him. All right, y'all. So that were the hot topics. We got to figure out a name for this segment. Another update? Another topic? I don't know yet. We'll figure it out. But let's go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come back for the comics.
Cool. All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to the comics section. I feel like I have to change the name now that you've switched up the format on us, and like, I don't know.
I'm gonna change the name of it. Okay, we'll think about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that now, so we can figure that out. I was gonna say something cute. But comics this week we're going to talk about, and I had quite the haul. How about you?
I only had 1 issue this week, but we will be starting up the book club next month, so that'll be adding some books to my weekly stuff. So
very excited.
I'm excited for that.
Let's talk about that more. But let's go ahead and get into them. Number 1 book on the list, X-Men number 11 from Gerry Duggan and Pepe Larraz. And I know this is your title with your girl. Let me know what's going on.
Yes. So again, this was the book that I had this week, and X-Men are continuing on their mission. Well, this is like the girls' mission, and honestly, the team kind of splits up. Previously, we learned that, Game World had been sending these like creatures and monsters to attack Earth because they had created Arakko, turned Mars into Arakko, and the galactic politics of all that, people don't like that. So Game World was kind of making bets on who can kind of get Earth up out of here. Mm-hmm. And the team decided to split up. Jean took Polaris, Rogue, and Wolverine to go deal with Game World in space, while Sync, Sunfire, and Cyclops dealt with the Dr. Stasis stuff back on Earth. This issue opens up with Mojo, which didn't make a lot of sense to me, but Mojo is doing his Mojo World Plus Investor Day, which is, a little pun on Disney Plus Investor Day. And he gets a note from an attorney saying he's basically been kicked out of Game World and is no longer a part of it. And he's like, it doesn't matter because they can go deal with what's coming to them, and it's the X-Men. And then we get this, the page of the girls walking in their outfits, walking into the Game World. They make a deposit with Mysterium so they can get their own tokens and play around. They find out that Game World is like, Jean makes the statement that Game World is capitalism in its final form, and we gotta like stop this place. But they had already learned that they did have psi dampeners there, but like Jean was like, they're nothing. But the problem is they have psi alarm, so if she trips off on an alarm, they can get caught. But they have a plan in getting caught. Lorna tells everyone, stick to the plan while we're walking through all of this. Wolverine says, I'm going to go off and play Scrapper and make herself get caught, while they all go split up to go be a part of their own separate plans. Lorna spots a dress. She's like, I got a few minutes before I got to finish my mission, and picks up a new dress, which I thought was fun. And then the team kind of plays into all of their missions or whatever that they kind of talked about before, where they want to. We didn't necessarily hear the specifics behind the mission that they were trying to make, but they are trying to get caught basically by the Cordyceps Jones, who ends up infecting Wolverine with this fungus. He later infects Jean with this fungus after she gives a speech about how Game World is it needs to be taken down by her because she came in as Marvel Girl, but they're dealing with Jean Grey, is kind of what she says.
Okay.
Yeah. So Cordyceps Jones ends up attacking Wolverine on her, and then she ends up getting hit with the fungal infection too. So he now controls Wolverine and Jean. Back on Earth, Cyclops finally catches up with Dr. Stasis. They have a fight. Turns out that Dr. Stasis is actually Sinister. But when he sees Cyclops, he's like, what? Have we ever met? That doesn't make any sense. So who knows this is probably just some Sinister clone that's been out running free.
Those Sinister clones are going to become very convenient.
Yes, very, very convenient. I like Sinister, I'm a sucker for a mad scientist. So I like Sinister. And I've been liking that they've kept his personality throughout all of this. But overall, I thought it was a pretty solid issue. No fantastic issue, or it wasn't terrible.
Because I know one of the things you said is that you kind of feel like you wish this team would, I guess, interact a little bit more. Do you feel like this being a girls' night issue and them doing whatever, that you feel as though you see a little bit more of them together?
A little bit, yes. There were some moments when they were kind of walking through the crowds and being like, guys, stick to the plan. That kind of stuff was nice to see. Later on, after Lorna does get her dress, she's partnered up with Rogue, and Rogue is like, did you just stop and get a dress? And she's like, yeah, I did. And it's cute. But Game World is also being run by slave labor. We've got to cause a distraction, and she sets off these slot machines that are robots, feminine robots, I should say. And they squirt all these coins and stuff on people. So those moments were cute, but I wish I would have gotten more of the teammates interacting with each other, not just interacting with each other in the scene, if that makes sense. The beginning pages of Mojo, in my opinion, should have been the girls getting ready and like talking to each other and maybe setting up the plan. So we saw what the actual plan was going to be. That would have been nice to see. So the answer is no. I wish that I got. No, I wish that the team did like talk to each other more.
Okay, what would you rate the issue?
I would give this issue a 3 out of 5.
Okay,
It was solid. I'm excited for the next issue. It seems as though since Jean and Wolverine got captured by Cordyceps, I'm assuming, well, Lorna does say it like Jean got captured, we need to go and help. So I'm assuming Lorna and Rogue are going to have like a team up thing to go and come and help them before all four of them have their girl power, girl boss moment.
Okay, that's fine. So, like, as the series is coming to like its next phase, because I know the Hellfire Gala is coming, the team's supposed to change a little bit. Do you feel like this team will kind of beat the threat that is this Dr. Stasis sinister guy, or is that something that's going to carry over to the next group?
I think this is going to be something that carries over into the next group. I think the next group is going to have to deal with the fallout of Sinister being Dr. Stasis. And I think that is where we'll get friction between the X-Men and the Council.
Okay.
I think the space mission right now with the girls at the Game World, they're definitely gonna beat the villain and, you know, save Game World and head back to space. I'm sorry, head back to Earth for Judgment Day. And then after that, when the new team appears, I think they're gonna be dealing with the fallout of Sinister and like friction with the Council.
Okay. Well, we might be tuned in if Firestar's there.
We'll see. If Lauren is still there, I'm gonna still be there. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, moving on. Our next book is Shang-Chi number 11. That's from Jean Luen Yang and Marcus Toe. And this was the Blood and Monsters finale and also the final issue of this series. And it was really interesting reading this because I felt like I was watching a scene out of the Shang-Chi movie in the end of the MCU. Like, so basically, Shang-Chi's grandfather has been trying to kill him. And so this is the culmination, the big battle between them two. And Shang-Chi has the 10 rings now, so there's a lot of, like, blasting, and he's holding rocks up from a building, like, when the explosion happened. And it's like all this crazy stuff. Like, it legit, like, I was watching, I was like, synergy is strong right here. But the big thing about it is, of course, he does win, and he's kind of reunited with his family. He now has his sisters and his brothers, and they just kind of reinforce the fact that, like, we're family and we're together. And I think that's been the big thing about this series the entire time. It has been building up Shang's family and showing us who they are and how he relates to them, and allowing him to be a little bit more of himself and not have to pretend to be like the stereotypical martial arts guy that he's pretended to be for the other heroes. And then, of course, at the end, after there's this big battle, they're fighting off the forces of the grandfather, Spider-Man and Iron Man see video of him helping people, and Spider-Man's like, remember you were saying, is he friend or foe? He's like, I think this shows that he's friend. And, like, he's going to do what needs to be done. So I thought that was just like a really nice ending and full circle moment for this series. It is not the end of Shang's adventures. He will be having another series titled Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings, and I believe that'll be starting in a few months. So it's something I highly recommend. I think if anyone is interested in Shang and they want to get to know him, I think this is what it needs. I've said from the beginning, a lot of times we've seen him and he just comes in to be like the guy who beats everybody up and then he leaves. He's very cold. Like I say, he's been that stereotypical martial arts character. And this story has like fleshed him out and given him family, background, history, and it's added a little bit of fun into it. And if anybody knows me, I always say that characters, comic book characters especially, I think they need a little bit of a fun era in their life, because you can't just be dark and heavy all the time. You want to give them something that people could just get into and be like, oh, this is light. This is what it was. I'm interested to see what will continue on in the next one. I will admit, I'm not a fan of him having the 10 rings. I think it's just kind of like unnecessary.
Come on. You know why they doing it.
I know why they're doing it, and I know why they're going to stick around. But again, I'm still just like,
I mean,
I will say the battle did just like how in the movie the
yes.
battle looked cool in the art. I do think Toe like he did some really nice stuff here. His art's still not my favorite. I think it's very pretty. It does tend to look a little flat sometimes to me, but um, like you could tell like Sean was using those rings and some power was coming out of them, and that was nice to see. So
Okay, what would you rate the issue?
I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5. I'd give the series as a whole probably like a 3.5 out of 5 as well. I think it's like a good solid run to introduce Shang and like get him in the grips. It's going to be interesting to watch that character develop. I believe the next book is still going to have the same creative team. It might have a different artist. I'm not 100% sure, but I know Yang is still supposed to be writing. It'll be interesting to see like as he continues on growing, like how they'll reinvent him a little bit and like what they'll do. And it's just like interesting to see because he's kind of new. Well, he's not new, but he's new in the sense that this is the most we've ever gotten. So
right, he's fresh.
Yeah, that's a better word. Look at you. Okay. And next up on our list is Seven Secrets number 17, and this comes from Tom Taylor and Daniele Nicuolo. And so I was talking about this book. I think that a lot of times with Tom Taylor, his work is a little middle of the road for me. I think that when he's good though, he is really good. And Seven Secrets is an example of a time when he is really, really good. Okay. And the art team sells it. I just really like everything about this book. You know, in the last issue, Casper, he's been our main character for the entire series. He died. He got his head cut off. And so this issue is kind of from, well, it's not kind of, it is from the mom's point of view. And we kind of get the entire story about like how Casper was born and like all the stuff that we've been building to with this mystery surrounding him and how, you know, she gave birth to him. She was a part of the order, and the case that she was holding a secret in, the energy of it went into Casper when he was a baby. And so she's like, there's this page where the baby starts talking to her in this God voice. And she's like, my son was 7 seconds old when he said his first words to me. And it was like, you're going to have to let me go out into the world. And basically he is a part of this creature who is going to bring destruction. They call it the great evil. And it's like Casper is like the antithesis of that. And they go about the story, and it's like, okay, now he's dead. His head's been cut off. But she's like gathering all the people. She's like, no, we're gonna still fight Amon, who is our villain. He has bonded with the great evil, and so now he's like, all right, let's destroy the world. And she's like, I'm not gonna let that happen. So they go through all of these things. They come to two of the other secret carriers. Apparently, they have some ability that's been keeping them alive this entire time that they got from Casper. So they put it back into him. And he comes back to life, but he comes back to life as like this giant like energy being. And he's like, and they're like,
I'm up.
And they're like, like the page looks so good. Like I have to like emphasize the art so much on this series. Like it's always kinetic. You can always feel the facial expressions. It's heavy. It like sells the emotion of the story so much. And like this page of him is like this energy being. It's like, damn, who is that? So, he's like, yes, it's me, Casper, and I want some answers. And then the issue ends. And so it's going to be just kind of exciting. I think, I don't know if the next issue is the last one. I don't know how much longer this book is supposed to be going, but I've been like loving it. I'm enjoying the ride. I always say a good series is when I start to remember everybody's name. Oh, I'll be like, oh, that's Ava, that's Cancel, that's Casper, that's Amon, that's Fell, like that's Siegfried. Like, yeah, these are my people. This is my family. So I highly recommend it. I would give this issue a 4 out of 5 for sure.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If you haven't gotten into Seven Secrets, like, please do so. If you know how to work Comixology now, I don't. The issues, I'm sure. Another book. This was a really good week for me. It was like my favorite kind of thriving. Is Moon Knight Black, White, and Blood #1, and this had a few different creatives on it. There was Hickman and Bachalo, Ayodele and Akande, and then Guggenheim and Fornes. And I'm gonna be real with you, I was really only excited for the Hickman story in here, and like, it was hot. I think if anyone is familiar with the Black, White, and Blood series, they're not really these super important stories that you need to read. I think they're just really good moments of the heroes that are a part of them kicking butt and like being violent and showing blood in black and white. and it's like just a hot thing to read. So I think if that's something that you want to get into or just see Moon Knight beating people up, which he's always good at, you should go ahead and pick that up. They kind of do like a futuristic version of him in the Hickman story too, which is pretty cool and interesting. So that was fun, and the design of it was really cool. Guggenheim, that story wasn't good at all, but like I don't know how he keeps getting Marvel work. I'm sorry, I don't know if that's mean to say or not, but it's like I have never read a good story by that man in my life, and I do not understand how his name keeps popping up on books.
He got something on people.
I don't know. And the other story by Ayodele and Akande, that was also fine. Moon Knight beat people out. It's cool. It's a good little fun thing. Obviously, there's a writer who brings it a little bit down, so I'd give it like a 3 out of 5. Fun art.
Okay.
But yeah, you want to see Moon kick some.
But the Hickman story was hot.
The Hickman stuff is hot. It's cool. I was like, oh yeah, this is what I'm into. I'm here for that. And our final book on the list is another new #1 and a very special one for me, and that is Captain America: Symbol of Truth, and that comes from Tochi Onyebuchi and art from R.B. Silva. And let me tell you, what a team! What an absolute team! So, do you remember how you felt when you saw Captain America: The Winter Soldier?
Yes.
That's kind of what I felt when I read this book. Like,
oh wow, okay.
The interviews have been saying that like this series is going to be a kind of political action thriller. You're going to see Sam do a lot of stuff. You're going to see the fighting, and that's exactly what this first issue gave. Like he and Phoenix Joquan are going. Misty Knight has tipped them off about a cargo train that has stolen super soldier serum. So they go to.
Oh wait. I read this.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I got into this.
Oh wow!
About this.
Oh wow!
So yes, I did see Misty Knight telling him all the stuff about the super serum and everything. I read that. I picked this up because I was like, RB Silva's on art, and I am always talking about like giving comics a try if I'm willing to give it a shot. So like, I tapped into it to give it a chance, and it was hot. I was reading this and I was like, damn. So this is where all the action is that I've been asking for.
What do I always tell you? You got to come down to the streets, baby. You know where it's at.
It was
you
pretty
know
good.
where it's at. But no, like I was really.
I have some questions
really okay. Go ahead. Give me your questions. Let's get into it.
Take us through it though. I'll bring them up as you go through the story.
Okay, so I mean, so Misty gives them the tip about the super soldier serums being stolen, and so they go to attack this, or they go to stop the train. They come around fighting, and Sam's kicking people in the face. It's really good to see. They come across and
do his wings flap?
No, not really. Well, I mean, they draw them flapping. They shouldn't though. They should be.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But so like, he's had different wings that have been of different materials. So like some of them will actually look like they're flapping. He had hard light wings at one time. Those never flapped.
Those the best ones.
Yeah,
they used those in the Avengers Assemble cartoon.
Oh, they did.
He was also able to shoot feather like hard light things from them.
Oh, I think I'm hearing something about that. Yes.
I thought those were pretty cool.
I always gotta say I gotta watch that cartoon because I heard
yeah. well, maybe you do actually, because Falcon is used a lot in it.
Yeah, and that's what I always heard. Like he had like a big role in it, so I was like, maybe I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I did really like about this series also is that
he's the point of view character, actually, I think.
Oh, maybe I'll add that to the list a little bit sooner.
Yeah, I think it starts with him like joining the Avengers, and you like follow it through his eyes.
How it should be, and now he's about to have. That's what I'm talking about. But one of the things that I really did like about this book is like, obviously this is the first, well, it's not the first time that Sam has been written by a black man, but it's the first time that he's been written by a black man as Captain America. And I love that scene of when he was with Misty and they were just kind of talking about like why he wants to be Captain America and like how he views America, but it had that like Hotep guy yelling that like was so funny to me, because I was thinking about one day when I was at the train station and what you got your men out there with their little ankhs on and they got their bullhorn and they yelling about the people and the Pan-Africanism, and I was like, yeah.
He said we got to go back to Wakanda.
And I thought that was so funny, but I thought that was like really poignant and really touching and like a good thing to see, and I thought it was like a really just great example of like what representation in comics looks like. You know what I'm saying? And how like natural it is, and you add these things in. That was cool. I also just really loved all the stuff with Sam and Misty in general. If anyone knows me, you know that I'm a Sam and Misty shipper. I support that relationship.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite Sam relationship right there. I love seeing them together, and like I love cementing that, and we're moving her away from Iron Fist, and we're moving him away from like just.
I don't know.
It doesn't even matter who was within the past day.
I really like him and Misty together. This is my first comic ever, I think, actually reading their relationship together. I've seen them in stuff, obviously. But this was my first comic actually seeing their relationship. And like when she was telling him, let's take a walk through Harlem, and how they were like, oh wow, we were like a train stop away and we never really met each other before, which makes a lot of sense. Like
that's real.
Yeah, I appreciated how like real and authentic their relationship is. Even when they were on the rooftop and she literally gave him a mission, and he was like, are you giving me another mission? She was like, oh no, why would I do that?
Right.
That was cute.
And she was like, this is not a date. This wasn't a date. And he's like, it was. You know it was. I was like, that's real.
They're cute together.
So I really enjoyed that, and it was good to see them again. But we end up finding out that there actually isn't any super soldier serum on this train, but we do see some refugees, and they actually happen to be related to our Falcon. So they get them off to safety, and then we cut towards the end of Crossbones in prison, and he's approached by a gentleman by the name of the White Wolf, and talking about how he's about to destroy and take over the country, blah blah blah. You know how the villains like to do. They start monologuing and tell you their plans, and he's like, the first thing you got to go do is deal with Captain America, and like that automatically like woke me up. If I didn't like anything else about the issue, I love that part, because not only do I love Sam Misty, but I love Sam versus Crossbones. That is.
Oh, okay. Is that a thing?
Yeah, that's very much a thing. Like that's pretty much his arch nemesis right there. Every time.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was wondering why they were like really hyping up Crossbones. I always assumed he was a Captain America.
So he did, to pop up with Cap, Steve, all out. But then as Sam started to get elevated, him and Crossbones fought once before, and then after he became Captain America, it was always like the thing where they were kind of butting heads, and so it's like especially after Winter Soldier when they did it in the movie there with Sam.
Yes.
Yeah, that like really cemented it in that this is Sam's guy.
Okay, is he still alive in the MCU? Or no, he blew up, and Wanda blew him up.
Probably.
Right? Didn't she he was gonna blow himself up, and she put him in a field and let him let him die.
It's the multiverse.
But it's comic books. They can bring him back.
But I'm always excited. They fought, Crossbones and Sam have fought a couple of times before. In his all-new Captain America run that was written by Remender and Amonin. They also popped up together again, like during the Nick Spencer run. So again, it was great to see him here. And speaking of Stuart Eminem, R.B. Silva studied under him, and like that's the highest compliment in the world, because this issue, I felt like I was reading the all-new Captain American series.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it felt just very much like that. Yeah.
I was like, but like that's such a good thing, because when that series came out, it was like, damn, Sam looks good, and it was like, this looks good, and it got you excited, and it's like, this is killer. And I think Silva works a little bit better, because I'm not gonna lie, he's a little bit better with his action than I think Eminem was. And so Sam kicking them people in the face, it was hot.
Yeah, it was. It was interesting for me as a more superpowered fan. In the beginning of this issue, when they were like doing this mission, and someone like shot a missile at them, and it was like, oh, Sam, watch out for the missile. And I was like, oh right, he's supposed to be afraid of that. I was like, why is he afraid of a missile? Like, but oh yeah,
he's not gonna survive.
Yeah,
he's dead. But honestly, this entire issue like gave me everything I wanted in a Sam book that I could expect, and like I'm very pleased. I'm very excited to see where it goes and to continue on. Deadpool is showing up in the next issue. I know that might be a turnoff for some people, but like Deadpool can be really fun sometimes. And he's like a good fighter. And again, I think the voices.
If anything had a Deadpool team up.
Okay, sorry. That's just the word right there.
And he's almost like that Wolverine kind of team up, where it's like They put them around those characters because like they sell.
And I think Sam's voice and everything was really well done in here. So I think like Deadpool will also be in a similar vein where it won't be too overdone with his humor like it can sometimes be, and it won't be like super annoying. It'll be like the right amount, and it'll be interesting to see how Sam interacts off of him.
Yes. Do you think he'll indulge his antics or be annoyed by them?
A little bit of both. He can be a little bit more straightforward though. You know, Bucky used to be a little rambunctious, and he wasn't here for that either.
That's true. I did like their little brother relationship.
Yeah.
I thought this issue was a really great first issue. I think I might stick with the series and see what's going on with Sam. I kind of want to know more about Joaquin. I kind of wanted more Joaquin, but I think that I have to remember this is Sam's book. So
yes, that is true. And you know, shout out to Joaquin because he has fared a lot better than Rayshawn. And
oh yeah, I forgot about him.
I like him as Falcon, and I like his costume, and I like to see him. And I was really interested in that little part, and I loved how they made them related, and so that makes the story a little bit more important for him. So I'm sure we'll see a little bit. He's great.
I wonder if we'll get a Patriot cameo. They've been building up the Isaiah Bradley. Is that his first name, Isaiah?
That's the grandfather.
Or was
Eli.
The grandfather? I forget. Eli, right? Yes. Or he might be. Is he still in legal drama?
He showed up in that like Black Panther issue where all the Black heroes were in Wakanda.
Oh, well, maybe he might show up in this.
Him and Rayshawn, actually. I think that was the last time we saw them both. So I don't know.
Either way, I would give this issue like a 4 out of 5, 3.5, 3.5 out of 5.
I would actually give it a 5.5 out of 5. It was perfect. But I don't know what else. I don't know. Again, like I think about Sam. And just like, I really love the voice. I really love the story. I really love the little bit, like I said, the bits about him talking about America. The art was fantastic. It really sold it. The colors look good. Like shout out to this creative team. I think this was a great new #1. I think it was a great jumping on point for people. I think check it out.
Yeah, definitely. Get into it. I liked it. I'm ready to see a little bit more of some Sam Cap.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Those were the books of the week. Let's go ahead and take a little break, and then we'll be back.
Let's do it.
All right. Hello, welcome back, everyone, for your favorite part of the show, another relaunch. Oh my, we haven't done relaunches in so long.
It's been a minute, yeah. But you know, we've been through some restructuring. You know, but we back at it.
And the MCU has been just like kind of dishing out content. Shout out to them.
Truly. Some quality content. Some questionable.
I was about to say some there. But that's what it is. Well, welcome back into this relaunch of the relaunches, everybody. I'll kick us off if you don't mind.
Go for it.
So my relaunch, you know, in lieu of the great Captain America Symbol of Truth that came out #1 that came out this week, my relaunch is for Misty Knight. So in the original Captain America series that when Sam first became Cap, him and Misty met up and she was like telling him how she was investigating Hydra, and she had come across this secret that there was apparently a Hydra agent in every hero team in the Marvel universe. So she was like the X-Men, the Avengers, the Guardians, like Hydra has somebody everywhere. And it was supposed to be like this big story that planned out, and it was going to be like Sam Cap's like big overarching villain for his arc. But the book ended, Rick Remender ended up leaving Marvel, and nothing else ever came of that plot. There were like rumors going around that Misty herself was going to be a Hydra agent, and she was going to kind of be stringing Sam along on this mission. And so my relaunch for her is to bring that back. However, she is not just the Hydra agent. You come to find out that she is in fact the new Madam Hydra, and she's running the entire operation and doing that. And this is like also inspired a little bit from Multiverse of Madness. You know, Wanda just had her bad girl dark phase, and I think about a lot of the characters that we like. We love them being superheroes. We love them being like fun and blasting and fighting and doing all this stuff. But sometimes they gotta go dark. And
the dark arrows when it's getting real good.
dark, they get real, and like you get some really interesting stuff. And I think Misty is a character that is pretty interesting when she's across the page. And I think, you know, they try and do the whole Daughters of the Dragon thing a lot, and I think that would be really interesting. She's kind of been in a space where she's directed heroes before. They did a Heroes for Hire run where she was operating, so you could kind of see that as an evolution of her with Hydra. She's controlling everything now, and I would like to see how that just goes throughout the Marvel universe. Her relationship with Sam, her relationship with Colleen, her relationship with Luke, her relationship with all the heroes. And because here as a woman, she is kind of that person who everybody trusts. And it's like, why would we tell Misty Knight, you know? And so to see her in this space and like have her moment, it's like the queen bee and like messing stuff up.
In a little green outfit. Yeah.
She can give her 2 little afro puffs or something like that for the side. Make it real hot. She'll have her metal arm and her gun.
Yes.
And so I think that I would like to see Misty in her Madam Hydra villain era. Just, you know, maybe a good year or two, and then we can get her back to right. She can be possessed or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. We can superhero it away, but like she needs it.
Yes, and that's my relaunch.
Okay. I like that. I would love to see some Madam Hydra Misty. That'd be hot. My relaunch is something that is a little more like, I don't know, different than what I've kind of done before. This one kind of came to me after the X-Men vote and like how big of a turnout that was as far as like people getting involved and people like campaigning for characters and stuff like that. And I thought that Marvel should really tap into that kind of stuff. So I think that Marvel should bring back the Contest of Champions book, where you have the versus battles of all the different characters, where I believe it was the Collector who would just like, you know, he's having a game with one of the other like cosmic beings, and it's like, I'm gonna pick my character, you pick your character, and we're gonna make them fight, but then we'll put them back to where they were before. I think that would be a lot of fun for people to get there. You know, there go your Jean versus Emma fights. There are your Wolverine versus Hulk fights, and you get fans to kind of vote for who they want to win, get some great artists in there. And like, you know, I've been complaining about the action and stuff kind of lacking. That's an easy way for you to get those panels and stuff off in there of the people fighting each other. And also, we wouldn't have to have as many hero versus hero like events if we had Contest of Champions where they were just fighting in that, and you can call it a day.
So would this be like an anthology type of thing?
Yeah, they recently had a Contest of Champions where I think it kind of had a story behind it, where the Collector was like on the run for something, or like something bad was happening for him and he needed to get like specific champions to fight a thing for him or something, and then he was going to put them back before. And Contest of Champions has, I think this is actually how it originally started, was my kind of premise of where fans can kind of get involved with voting and stuff, where this was just like the superheroes fighting each other book, and they were able to get away with that. I think they should kind of bring it back to that.
That could be really fun. So, you know, I did read that Contest of Champions book that Hal Ewing wrote that had Night Thrasher. I thought that was pretty good. And then there's the 98 one version, and that one's interesting because Jesse Bedlam's in it with the X-Force team, and they beat Iron Man, and he's like a big part of the reason why they beat Iron Man, because obviously his power deals with electronics. And then he also fights Betsy, but like she loses, but then like she's one of the first people to break free of the Collector's control, and she's a big part in helping free other people and helping. She gets this really cool bone armor that's hot. So I'm always down.
Yeah. I think like hot things like that can happen in these kind of books that I think a lot of fans and readers would like to see. And I know the artists would probably love to draw these like cool fight scenes and splash pages and stuff like that. And it would just be very fun. You could even make it a a summer miniseries that comes about every summer, where it's the Contest of Champions. You know,
I actually really like that.
Every summer we have like a 5-issue series of these are the matchups and the voting or whatever, and these are artists that are going to do it. And you get more artists having stuff in their portfolio, writers having some good action stuff that they can write. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And clearly there's a market for fans wanting to campaign for their favorite character. So
that is true.
My relaunch would be to just relaunch Contest of Champions.
Can you imagine like the way people would sabotage the voting?
Oh, for sure. Yes. Yes. For sure. But I think it'll still be a lot of fun. I think, like, you know, people have those who's clearing battles on Twitter all the time. So why not just give it to them in panel?
And show us.
Yeah. That's my relaunch. Contest of Champions. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for all of the feedback we have gotten before about like what we should add to the show and stuff. Please make sure you rate and subscribe us wherever you get your podcast. We really appreciate it. Definitely give us 5 stars. Thank you so much. And you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Another Relaunch. You can find me on most social media platforms at UncannyLZ. Keenan, where can they find you?
You guys know you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Keenan Lance. As always, there's an underscore at the end.
Boom. Okay, I was supposed to go to the gym, but I don't feel like it. I'm gonna go get pizza instead.
Pizza's good. I'm gonna be trying. I bought all these little shorts from Shein, and they finally came in the mail, and so I'm gonna be trying those on today.
Yes, hoochie shorts. Those are my favorite. All right, y'all. Let's get out of here. We'll see y'all next week.
All right.